a recording of my nuclear nightmare testimony. Please stand by. So I had a dream right before I woke up. It was a disturbing nuclear nightmare, one which I would not forget. I didn't think about anything related to atomic warfare, a hydrogen bomb, or the ICBM that would be deployed over American soil. The possibility thereof a long time ago haunted me, but for the last 2 to 3 weeks, even a whole month, I didn't think about it. Nothing to induce this dream. It came unannounced, surprisingly and shockingly. I had average dreams all week. Dreams that most people have based on memories or disconnected experiences. This whole past month even, I didn't even think once about a nuclear attack. So even last night, upon the recording of this picture, I went to bed. It was the run-of-the-mill, average night like every other night, not even thinking about nuclear bombs. Granted, the night before I saw a movie, Moonraker, starring Roger Moore, James Bond movie. But again, that's just another movie, and it wasn't anything based on nuclear attack. A science fiction movie, as I usually watch. So at night I'm in bed, but before I wake up in the morning, I have a long dream. The people are going about their daily business in New York City, but I'm talking to people like experts that are related to the military. And when I talk to them, suddenly they have an alert. From yellow to red alert. DEFCON. And everyone is running around like crazy. And I'm asking, what's going on? They say a nuclear detonation should take place. An ICBM warhead is on its way. And apparently everyone was aware of this being televised, that there is a stray ICBM or some kind of a missile that's a possibility to hit the New York area. In my dream, they didn't say the word New York, but it did look like my home city where I live in right now. At least it looked like New York City. I was within the dream, and people were running about, scurrying about like, and in a state of panic, almost a panic, pandemonium. And so We were advised to go into a fallout shelter. A fallout shelter that shields us from the nuclear winter, or the ash and the dust and the snow that has fallen from the clouds. Completely radioactive. Material that is affected, and even the air and the atmosphere during the fallout. I am at a nearby subway station, not exactly in Manhattan, but one that is underground, not elevated. And we have several of them in Queens. Even though we have elevated trains, we also have subways. So we run down the stairs. I'm running in the crowd of people, and we go down several levels. This subway station happens to have 2 to 3 subway stations underground stacked on top of each other. But we go down to the lowest level, and we're admitted into this large room. I didn't know they had rooms in some subway stations that are fallout shelters, but apparently they do. It was revealed in my dream. These are warehouse-size rooms that are able to hold multiple people. I'm not sure how many people were in this room underground below a subway station. Yeah, that deep. Whether it was a subway station or a room, I cannot be 100% certain, but the dream revealed a room underground below the deck of a subway station. We were huddled there en masse, and before I went down there, I gathered a big bucket of water. There were buckets available. During this panic, many empty buckets were stacked on the side of the walls, and there were hoses, and in my dream there was a water faucet. I was able to fill up my bucket full with water, and I had like this large package of disposable cups to pour the water in, probably to share with my people together as we were huddled in this underground room. So we prepare ourselves. We're inside and underground, several levels down, deep in the ground, inside the room. And then we don't hear anything and we don't feel anything. And I look up, nothing is going on. I look at the ceiling inside the room, and then in my dream, suddenly the entire reinforced concrete ceiling and walls stretch up like molasses, like an elastic. It's as if they stretch up, they rise like several feet to a few meters up higher, and I hear the screeching of reinforced steel and concrete, the scream of metal and girders or something behind or above our ceiling in this basement. Grotesque sounds of contorted metal and steel, and this happens all within 1 second. Completely, the ceiling is raised, and then I see it turn soot black, like charcoal. Immediately everything turns black. We don't hear anything, nothing at all, and it turns black all around the ceiling, The power goes out, by the way, right before it turns black. We still have electricity just for a moment, and then everything turns black, and then suddenly this bloated, swollen ceiling sags down above us and to the uncomfortable space where no longer we are able to stand in this underground or subterranean room, but it sags down and bulges down lower than a person can stand up. I was so shocked that I couldn't stand being in this nightmare and dream, and immediately I woke up. You know, when you have a bad nightmare, you suddenly jolt and you force yourself to wake up and you can't stand it. I was so frightened that I didn't want to continue to be in that black room with a swollen and bloated ceiling that just suddenly sagged down upon us. And that was the end of the nuclear nightmare. Now, be advised, I didn't think about such things prior to this horrific dream. Immediately after I woke up, I told my father, and I said, I will record this immediately, within 1 hour of the dream. And here it is, unedited, with no frills and whistles, not sugar-coated whatsoever. I read the book Last Train to Hiroshima, and I don't recall the author. Please excuse me for that. I will read it again. It's a testimony of the survivors that survived the nuclear blast over Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In my dream, it describes that similar thing. The hydrogen intercontinental ballistic missile that detonates 1,000 to 2,000 feet above sea level or above the city. The plasma fireball flashes forth within millionths of a second, or even a billionth of a second. And that nuclear fusion, that is a spark of the interior of our sun, casts forth the 15 million degree temperature. And within 10,000ths of a second or less than that, a flash, everything is melted around. And if you are in a very deep underground bunker, a fallout shelter, even those things are affected too. Not right away, you are shielded by layers of concrete and earth. But in my dream, literally the whole ceiling and walls stretch upward a bit from the horrible heat above ground, and then it collapses back down, sags down in a grotesque manner. This is my testimony of the nuclear nightmare. I am persuaded to study my Holy Bible. If you have another faith, then search the scriptures, whatever you believe in. But know that these things have been predicted, not only by the Holy Bible, but in some other books, even the Bhagavad Gita. And these things, Oppenheimer, that researched the first nuclear bomb, the atomic bomb, the Fat Boy, that was deployed over Japan. The scripture in the Bhagavad Gita talks about, I am become a destroyer of worlds, to paraphrase. What a horrible thing we have invented. In the Bible it says that the inventions of man are evil. Certainly these things are so evil. I am convinced that we have this evil stain within our own existence that only God or the divine intervention can deal it with. We do have a choice. We have a choice to create a brand new world, but we need guidance. How can we do it on our own, since things are getting worse? And certainly this nuclear nightmare has awakened me and shocked me and has given me an exigency of new vision to pray to God and to reach out to my fellow people. And thank you for watching.